Hello students. Today we are going to discuss poem 5 of the book First Flight, that is the ball poem written by John Barrymore. John Barrymore was an American poet and scholar. He is best known for the Dream Songs, which was a sequence of 385 poems. He won Pulitzer Prize for the Dream Songs. He also won National Book Award. So dear students, the poet John Barrymore, through his poem, that is the ball poem, has described the reality of life which everyone has to face one day. He has touched the topic of how to stand up against the miseries and sorrows of life. Let us discuss the very first stanza of the poem. What is the boy now who has lost his ball? What is he to do? I saw it go merrily bouncing down the streets, and then merrily over there it is in the water. No use to say, oh, there are other balls. So, what is the boy now who has lost his ball? In these lines, the poet is trying to tell us about a boy who has lost his ball. What is he to do? He tries to explore his mind. For instance, he wants to know his reaction after losing his ball and what he will do after that. I saw it go merrily bouncing down the street, and then merrily over there it is in the water. The poet has seen the ball bounce away merrily down the street and then bounce into water, or you can say river. The ball has been personified by showing that it was too happy to bounce its way and jump into water. No use to say, oh, there are other balls. The poet feels that there is no use trying to console the boy by telling him that he need not grieve because he can have another ball in its place. Now come to stanza 2. An ultimate shaking grief fixes the boy as he stands rigid, trembling, staring down all his young days into the harbor where his ball went. I would not intrude on him. A dime another ball is worthless. So, the boy is feeling sad, as children usually do when they lose their toy, which they get emotionally attached. Right? As it is written, an ultimate shaking grief fixes the boy. As he stands rigid, trembling, staring down all his young days into the harbor where ball went. The poet describes the boy's reaction by saying that boy is overcome with grief as he stands still, totally shaken up, watching his childhood days roll into the harbor just like his ball has rolled over and got lost into the water. Those memories of his childhood days fill him with sorrow as an inseparable loss. I would not intrude on him. A dime another ball is worthless. The poet say it is useless telling the boy that he can take some money to buy another ball. He knows that the new ball will in no way bring the same pleasure to him. Now come to the next stanza. He senses his first responsibility in a world of possessions. People will take balls, balls will be lost always. Little boy, and no one buys a ball back. Money is external. So, dear students, the poet is saying that this loss has taught him his first lesson of life, that is responsibility of taking care of his things. Here the poet says that the boy has to learn certain truths about his materialistic worlds where many of his belongings will be lost. People will take balls and balls will be lost always, little boy. By personifying the ball as his belongings, he is hinting at both kinds of losses, the worldly, materialistic things or personal relationships. He says that he has to learn to live with loss come what may. No one can buy What is lost? Money is external. The poet is trying to convey the idea that money cannot buy everything. It may help one in attaining some materialistic things, but not the emotions or feelings of belongingness that was associated with the lost item. Now come to the last stanza of the poem. He is learning well behind his desperate eyes the epistemology of loss, how to stand up, knowing what every man must one day know, and most know many days how to stand up. So, the boy is now learning to cope up with loss and how to accept the truth of life that something that is lost will never come back. He is learning to accept the miseries of life and then move on in life by standing up again. This is a universal truth which everyone has to learn in his life one day. So, dear students, it's basically all about the poem. What does poet want to convey? The poet wants to say that in life we lose many precious things which cannot get back. We need to be more practical and become more responsible towards everything. Loss of loved ones, a happy childhood, and loss of materialistic things that are inevitable. And one is bound to be exposed to such situations at one time or the other. People need to accept the truth and learn to move on in life. So, in this poem, the bowl is symbolic of the childhood days of the boy, right? So, as he is becoming young, his that ball symbolizes his childhood days that went into the harbor, right? Which cannot be called back. So, I hope it is clear to you. Now, let us discuss the literary devices used in the poem. First one is anaphora, that is, use of repeated words in one or more lines. So, as in the poem, what is the boy, what, and merrily bouncing merrily over the word what is repeated, right? So, anaphora is there. Next is assonance, that is repeated of vowel sound. In the poem, who, lost, O sound is repeated. So, here is assonance. Next is imagery. So, when imagery, as you know, when we can imagine the things in our mind. So, in the poem, when the poet says merrily bouncing down the street, right? Next is repetition. What is repeated in the poem and merrily as well. Next is personification. Ball is personified as it is written merrily bouncing, right? Next is metaphor. Ball is a metaphor for all the belongings and loved ones. It also symbolizes the boy's childhood days. Fine. So, dear students, I hope this video is useful to you to understand this poem well. Thank you.